Hello guys, I hope you are doing good. Welcome to this new video. Today we are going to solve this problem where we are asked to create a function that mimics the browser history. So we have to create a function that showcase how browser history works. So our function will have four methods. The first is visit, that will take the URL we have to visit on. The second is current, it returns the current page or the current URL we are at. And then the navigation method, which is backward and forward. So let's open a new tab and let's see how browser history works. So if you see, when I create an instance, there is a blank page, so there is nothing over here. Let's say if I type JavaScript over and navigate to JavaScript, so this is the Google space that opens. So this is the first entry. If I navigate back, it will go back to the blank page, and if I navigate forward, it will come back to the JavaScript or the Google page. Now here, if I go to W3 schools, so this is a new entry we had made. So we visited a new page. If I navigate back, again it will go to the Google page, and if I navigate further back, it will go to the blank page. Similarly, if I navigate forward, it will go till the W3 schools. Let's say in between I go one step back to the Google page and I open a new link. So this is a new entry that has been made in the history. So if I go back now, it will go back to the Google page and then back to the blank page. So it has overridden the W3 schools entry. So we have to create the similar feature in JavaScript using a function. So let's start implementing this. This functionality mimics the or showcase the use of stack data structure. So we are going to use the same. Let's see how we can implement it efficiently and we can handle all the edge cases. So I'm creating the browser history as a constructor function because we can create as many instances of this as possible. Let's say you can click on the plus tab and a new instance of this will be created. So that's why I'm creating or implementing this as a constructor function. And here I'm defining a history variable that will be an array that will store all the URLs we will be visiting, and then the index to determine the current page we are at, and we'll use this index as a pointer to navigate forward and backward in the array. Now I have initialized this index as -1 because arrays start with 0. So -1 represents the blank page we are at. So if the value is -1, then we'll show that it is a blank page. Otherwise, we'll navigate in the arrays or array of URLs. So let's create the first method, which is visit, and visit will take a function as URL as input. So URL, and to this we'll say that this dot history. So in the history we have to make an entry, and I'll use the prefix or pre-increment operator here, and I'll increment the index and I'll save the URL at that position. So it says that this dot index becomes 0 because we use pre-increment operator, and -1 value is incremented by 1, so it becomes 0, and at the 0th index in the array we have stored the first URL. Now another thing I'm going to do over here is I'm going to reset or resize the index length. So here I've resized the index or the array's length because when we navigate, when a fresh entry has made, we want to clear all the further entries that are existing in the array. So that's why we are trimming the array and we are keeping the size of the array with the current index, so the matching index. The second function is we are going to implement the current. This will return. So the first check is if the index is less than 0. So basically if the index is -1, we'll return a string saying blank page. You can return anything over here. Otherwise we'll return the history, from the history, whatever index position we are at. Now finally let's add the navigation methods. So backward here we'll update the index position. So to check every time what page we are at, we'll be using the current method. So in the backward and forward, we'll just update the index positions. So here I'm using math dot max operator. So I am either limiting it to -1. So we cannot go less than -1 when we are going backward. So -1 is our blank page. That's why I'm saying that either choose -1, maximum of -1, or whatever index we are at. So we cannot go less than -1. That's why I have added this check. Similarly, when going forward, I have to add a check that we can only move till the number of entries we have in the array, so which is this dot history dot length -1, because the array's position, array's index in works from 0 to 1 element less than the array length. So minimum of either we are at the end of the array list or we are moving forward in the index. So this index position will always be at the limit of the number of entries we have in the history. We cannot go beyond that. So that's it. We have implemented our function. Now it's time to test this. So let me create an instance of this. I'm creating a new browser history, and here let's console log and check the current page. So initially we should be at the blank page. So if I'm checking current, if I run this, you'll see that blank page is printed. So because when the new tab or new instance is initialized, we are at the blank page. Now let's make an entry to this. So let's say visit A and then visit B. So now if I check what's the current page I am at, it should be B. So see, B is printed. We are at the B. Now let me remove the previous log. Now let's say move forward and see what happens. So because B is the new entry that we have made, we cannot go beyond that. So it should print B only. So we are at B. Now if I go back, so it should print A because we are at B and now we have navigated back one position. So it should be at A. Now let's print that and see we are at A or not. So it's at A. Now if I navigate one position more back, it should be at the blank page. So if I run this, we should get blank page printed. So we are at blank page. Now we cannot go lesser than blank page. So there is nothing that exists. So if I make another backward call, it should be still at the blank page. So our check is working properly. Now let's say I go forward one entry. So we should visit A. Now if I run this, we should be at A. Sorry, the spelling is wrong. Forward. So if I run this, we should be at A. So we are getting at A. Now if I make another entry over here, let's say bh.visit C. So we should be at C. So C is getting printed. Now if I try to move forward, there should not be anything that exists at beyond C because this is a fresh entry. So we should get C printed. So C is printed. And if I go backward, we should be at blank page. Sorry, A page, because we have moved forward to B, and on the B we have changed. So we are at A, and if I go back one more instance, we should be at blank page. So that's it. That's how you can implement this function. Thank you for your time.